Your Shopify checkout and thank you pages are the golden gateway to finishing strong. But if you aren't optimized, you could be leaving serious revenue and momentum on the table. So today we're going to dive into 4 high leverage updates that you can make for clothing brands to maximize your orders and revenue. So let's dig in. Number 1 is to get on the latest version of checkout and thank you pages. So Shopify recently launched a completely redesigned foundation for checkout and thank you pages. You actually may not notice a whole bunch, but it's more secure, it's easier to customize, and it's built for extensibility. Now, why does this matter? Older checkouts with apps and scripts may actually soon break, or worse, it could create some security issues in the backend. So Shopify is requiring Plus merchants to upgrade by August 28th of 2025, so this year, and non-Plus merchants, they need to update by August 26th of 2026, so the following year. Now, upgrading opens up some powerful customizations like app blocks on thank you pages, new pixel placements, and order status page edits. So quick action, something that you need to do right now, and we'll walk you through this. You want to go to your Shopify store, bottom left corner, go to settings, then click on checkout. If you haven't upgraded them yet, you may see some kind of notice in here. So for example, this one says action required by August of next year. And it basically says that your customizations on your thank you and order status page will basically stop working. So if you have current apps for maybe upsells on the thank you page, or some kind of message, maybe to gather a quick review on your thank you page, those things will actually stop working if you don't go in and upgrade to the newer version. This is all based off of some of their additions, updates that they've done. And this is basically all essentially brand new. Now, if you click on review, this will actually walk you through some things that you want to do on your end. It may be a little bit different from brand to brand, depending on what you have enabled or not enabled, and the types of apps that you have installed. So it'll walk you through domain. So if you want to change the actual domain, right now, by default, it's just going to be the .myshopify.com domain. So you can actually go through that process of changing the domain, which I would probably recommend. And then tracking analytics, if you have any additional pixels or anything like that, this will actually walk you and show you like, hey, these apps may have some additional tracking pixels on these pages. And then page customizations, Judge Me reviews, digital downloads, postscripts, SMS. These are all apps that we could have app blocks already enabled on those pages. By default for us right here, it just shows 0 added in this example, but yours may say something different. So you'll have to go into each individual one and make sure that you're adding them and making it happen on the actual thank you page or order status page. Now, once you've reviewed everything in here, all you want to do is just click upgrade. And with that upgrade, then you have the option to do any additional customization. So now right here within checkout, if we go into our customizer, you should see the ability now to click on sections, actually not on the actual checkout page. So unless you're on Plus. If you're on Plus and you're on checkout, then you'll have some ability to do some customizations. But now if you click on the thank you page, you should be able to see the ability for you to add some app blocks in between the content in here. Again, something that before you really couldn't do any of this. So for example, within the header, we can add blocks, and this will give you some options depending on the apps that you have installed in the backend. Then with order details, you'll see like the options change in here. So digital download links, Judge Me reviews, vitals, checkout blocks, postscripts. So it will allow you to customize your thank you and order status page, again, which are going to be super, super important, and things that I would definitely encourage you to look at what apps you already have installed and what options you can add into your thank you page. It will depend, right, from customer to customer, but this is something that a lot of people tend to forget about. So definitely go in here and see what are your options and things that you can customize for your thank you page, for your order status page. Hey, before we move on, I just want to say my name is Christian Piñon, one of the co-founders here at BitBranding. We specialize in helping clothing brands scale online. We've served over 300 clothing brands in the last year alone. I would appreciate if you like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our latest content. So the second thing that you can do is exactly what I was just talking about. So you want to leverage the Checkout Blocks app. So if you haven't installed Checkout Blocks, I would highly encourage you to install Checkout Blocks. It looks something like this. It's called Shopify Checkout Blocks. It's an app made by Shopify. They've acquired some other brand or company, and now they've enabled it for us and we can use it for free. Majority of the things that you can do here is going to be for Plus customers, but it would allow you to personalize that post-purchase, right? So in this example here, you can see they've added a call us, chat, or email us section right here within the actual thank you page. It also, this is, yeah, just for Plus, just for Plus, just for Plus, and then this one's also just for Plus. So essentially what we can do, what we can leverage, right? It's gonna be that post-purchase thank you order status pages. Now, let's go over an example here. Besides, checkout blocks, there's also a couple of other apps in here that we're able to now just very quickly and easily, without coding, make some changes to this. So if we're here on the thank you page and on the order details, for us, we have a couple of products that are going to be just strictly digital downloads. So we want to have just a very easy option to have that digital downloads link show up right here within the thank you page, instead of, obviously it gets sent automatically via email, but now we have the option to just add this link right within here. And if we don't want to, yeah, I would say I would definitely have it up here towards the top of this page. Now, this again will depend on the types of apps that you have in here, but the other option would be something like that. So like a very easy customer support type box or message. Let's see if we can go and add that with the checkout blocks app. So if we do static content, now let's try adding a actual checkout blocks block into this thank you page. By default, when you click on add block, you should see it if you have that app installed. We're gonna do the dynamic content, but before we dive into that, we actually have to go into the app and create the block, and then it allows you to add it here into the backend. So just as an example here, we have checkout blocks, and then we go to blocks, we can click on create a block. And then in here, if we click on dynamic content, it will give you some examples. So we have a banner. So we have some kind of message that you want to make sure that people see. So it's maybe Black Friday, or it's some big sale that you have going on. Maybe the processing time will be a little bit longer. This would be a great use of that banner example right here. We also have the ability to do an FAQ accordion or the support buttons here at the bottom. So, or you can also do a blank template and kind of build it from scratch. But these are some just very easy to use, most common scenarios, things and blocks that you will use on the thank you page. So the support buttons, again, this will give you options here to title it however you'd like. And then the 3 buttons in here, we can click on edit for each of these. And as you can see, we have the ability to add the URL, call us, the alignment. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a super easy, like there's still some things that you'll have to kind of compromise when it comes to some of these. But as long as you're building everything here and then letting it know what's the app block ID, which 0 would just be the very first one that we'll create. We'll click save on that. And again, you definitely want to manipulate and change some of those options in there. I'm gonna click on active on the status, and then all we have really left to do once you've created here in the back end, if we go back to our blocks, we should be able to see it here. Yeah, support buttons, status is active, and then the app block ID is going to be important because that's how you're going to determine what shows on the actual thank you page. So 0, it's that one. So let me go ahead and click save on this and refresh this page. And now we should be able to add that dynamic content, and the app block ID is going to be that 0. And then for the preview, let's just do 0. Let me just click save, and then we'll refresh one more time. Block not found. Okay, I think because we just created it just fresh right now, it's not showing as active. Let me click on this real quick. Yeah, that's the last step. It's just really to add it to editor. Let's mark as done in here. We do have it active, and it could be just the preview is not showing. But let's give it more time, and then we'll come back to this and refresh so we can kind of see how that preview actually looks. All right, so the third thing that I would recommend you doing on your checkout thank you customer pages is to swap out your minimal logo for a branded header image. But we're not using the image, we're still using the logo. So rather than just a tiny logo, I want you to upload a compact image that includes your logo plus some key social proof or benefits. So think of BitBranding at the top, 4.9, 500 or 1,500 reviews, free US shipping, right? Shopify actually supports you uploading a custom logo into the checkout branding settings. And the reason why this works, and as you can see right now, we just have a very simple, just BitBranding and that's it. But the reason why this works is visual credentials obviously build trust instantly, and it keeps customers confident during those final steps, right? Throughout your website, they're reading all these reviews, they're reading all these things, all the security benefits, but then once they get to the checkout, they see a very much a blank page with just your logo, and that's about it, right? Again, unless you're on Plus. But in order for you to try to mitigate some of those things and get rid of the page blandness, is to compose this image. What you want to do is create something that's a little bit more taller than it is wide, because the tallness is actually going to give you a little bit more legibility and readability. And I'll show you here an example of that. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to go into my settings, checkout, and then on my thank you pages, I'm just going to duplicate this. And the only reason why I'm duplicating it is because I want to have it as I'm working on these pages without having to actually publish. And if you think about this is the exact same scenario as if you had a theme in your work, you have your current live theme, and maybe you don't want to mess things up with that live theme, but you still want to work on some changes for your thank you page checkout. So you can do the exact same thing. You can duplicate it, make your changes that you need to make, see how it looks. And then once you're satisfied with those, then click publish and make that one that you've been working on live. So let's click on customize here. And as you can see, again, we have just the logo here at the very top. If we change this, and again, these images they're already baked in, they already have the logo and all this information added in here. If I do kind of like more of that horizontal long version of it, you're gonna see and notice that it's gonna be very tiny. Some of this text is almost impossible to read in this format. Not even if you click left, center, right. The width, you have about 300 pixels that you can work with, but tall wise, you have a little bit more leeway. So I would recommend not doing something like this and doing something that's more stacked. You have a logo on top and then your graphics at the bottom. I just did this with Photoshop, but you can do it with Photoshop, you can do it with Canva. It doesn't really matter. Click change here. And this is the other version that we created for this. And as you can see, this is a little bit more legible. You can actually see the logo, read the text a little bit better. And again, it gives you that sense of trust and security that you need right here. And then the other thing is like, yeah, on mobile, this actually looks even better because the text is small here on the screen, but on mobile, it just looks a little bit bigger because you're on the actual device. Now, the fourth thing, by the way, I do have a little extra towards the end of this video that I want to share with you. So don't skip out on that one. Now, number 4, the post-purchase upsells on the actual thank you page. So once a customer's already purchased, they're still in that buy-in mindset. So you don't want to let that momentum go. So post-purchase upsells let customers add items without re-entering payment details. Obviously, for stuff like this, you want to offer highly relevant, maybe smaller add-ons. Your matching socks or a care kit, that's kind of just a nice little add-on to something that they've already are interested in purchased already. So you definitely want to keep it to 1 to 3 offers max to avoid decision fatigue. You don't want to do a whole bunch of stuff in here. Definitely want to clearly show the price and the urgency right here from the thank you page. Again, depending on the app, this is going to be a little bit of a different process, but for the most part, if you have an upsell app already installed, we're talking about one-click upsell, sell easy. In this example, we're going to use Vitals because it's already installed in the store. If you go to checkout under your settings and you scroll all the way to the bottom, you should see a post-purchase page, right? So this is is going to ensure that you can actually have those upsells on the actual post-purchase by making sure that you enable the app that you want to use. So for this example, we're doing Vitals. As long as you have the app installed in the backend, they should show up in here as the post-purchase. They should show up here as the post-purchase page, essentially. Now, once you have that done, then what I'm gonna do here is actually, I'm gonna go to Vitals, and then I'm going to just create a very simple offer in here. Trigger, we're gonna do any order, continue to offer, same product as ordered. We're not gonna do that, specific product or collection. Let's say that we have a dedicated collection of maybe some of our smaller items. In this case, I'm just gonna go with best sellers, or actually let me go into just these 2 products right here, just as an example. Only one of the products from the offer selection will be displayed for the customer. Okay, so it's only a single product. So let's do the foreplay because this is actually a free product. So as long as they discount percentage, it's already a free product, so there's not, okay, so let's change this up. Let's actually do browse. Let's do the avatar clarity blueprint. Let's give them a 15% off there. Continue to appearance. Here you can change the actual headline. Decline button. What does that look like? Decline this offer or pay now. Show product description. I don't want to do that because otherwise it will be very long. I don't need a quantity selector. Product ratings. Sure, I think that would be good. continue to review. Upsell any products, offer status. Let's make this active. Let's click save, enable app. Okay, I think that's because, all right, let's go ahead and go back over here and refresh. We're still gonna do the copy, not the live version, just to ensure. Let's see, for apps, I wanna make sure post-purchase vitals. Let's add it to our thank you page. I think by default, this actually may not show us the actual preview of it. But let me see. Okay, if I want, actually, let me delete this because I think the way I did it, I was actually already on the checkout page instead of being on the thank you page. So now I'm actually on the thank you page. And in here, I think I have a little bit more flexibility on where I want to add it. If you go here to your sections, this is what I did earlier. I would want that upsell to show up because it's just a block and I want it to show up right underneath the order summary. So we can go from this point and then add it in here. And then if I wanted just underneath the subtotal, I can do so by doing it that way. And that way, yeah, we'll have that upsell just showcased right there underneath the actual total that the customer paid, which is nice. Again, some other post-purchase apps absolutely take care over, it redesigns your whole thank you page instead of allowing you to do an app block like this. But this one's a little bit more seamless, I think. You still have all the features that you would get from Shopify while adding this post-purchase block right here within the thank you page. So this is already looking so much nicer. I love it. Hey, if you're interested in growing your clothing brand, we actually are doing a 45-minute strategy session free of charge. All you have to do is click the link in the description below and find a time that works for you. Now, there's a little something that I wanted to give you here towards the end, and it's basically changing some of the text, right, that you will see on the actual checkout page. By default, right, Shopify doesn't allow you to change anything on the checkout page, but we can still change some of the verbiage. So this button here at the very bottom says pay now. Our recommendation will probably be to change it to something along the lines of complete order or place your order. That default pay now really emphasizes spending money, right? What I want you to do is reframe it to focus on the value or the outcome, right? This simple nudge has been shown to increase clicks significantly. So how do we change that pay now button right here? So something that we can do is we can click on the actually not the three dots. Let's go ahead and exit all the way to your theme. Let's go to online store, themes, and then in here, we're gonna click the three dots. We're gonna click on edit default theme content. This is like all the verbiage and the copy throughout your website that Shopify deems like, hey, this is default text that shouldn't be messed around with too much. But at the same time, we're still giving you the option in order to change this if you would like. So what we're really gonna do here is type in the actual verbiage. So that's pay now. If you type in pay now, you should be able to see that right within here. So you'll see checkout and system, general, checkout, pay now button label is set up to pay now, essentially. So what we'll do is we'll do place your order, and then there may be another checkout order payment collection. We'll do the same thing here, place your order, then B2B, we don't have to worry about that one. We're gonna click save. So now let's go see how this looks. We go settings and then checkout. Let's go to our live one. I think it may show on the preview, but let me go to live. Checkout, we scroll to the bottom, we should see, yeah, place your order. And again, just a very simple tweak that can change the perception of your customer. Again, these 4 upgrades, updating your checkout foundation, the checkout blocks, investing in a logo here towards the top, and layering post-purchase offers can work together to smooth the customer journey, build confidence, and unlock extra revenue. If you're interested in watching, we had an older version of this video that we created a few years ago. There's maybe a couple of golden nuggets in there as well. Definitely check out that video here.